San Francisco 49ers 35, Arizona Cardinals 16. I don't have a ton to say on this, but the Niners dominated. Brock Purdy goes 20 for 21 for 283 and a touchdown.
Yeah, they did dominate. However, Arizona made that a lot closer than I think it looked on the scoreboard. Like,
I know, they needed to keep it within 2 touchdowns because we both picked them to do that.
But the 49ers get out to like a 14-0 start, and you're like, oh, well, that's that. You know, game over. Like they're going to do to the Cardinals what they've been doing to other teams. They're just going to stomp them. Arizona pulled it back. Like they got that very close, and it's only 2 late fourth quarter touchdowns that made the game get out of control. But Arizona, like, they are not a bad team. They are going to fight, and they're going to drag you back into a game. And even if you are having that kind of success on offense, they did pretty well. Michael Wilson is starting to look like a real player for them. What did he go in the 3rd round? Wide receiver from Stanford.
Beautiful catch on that touchdown, first touchdown.
A couple of really nice catches for them. They ran a fake punt without a punter, which seems unusual to me. I mean, in this world of like, hey, his knuckles have turned white, it's a run play. Like, that's the kind of level defenses are going to pick up a tell on the offense. It feels like not having a punter on the field for the fake punt is quite a large tell that it's not a punt.
A bit of a giveaway.
Yeah.
Man, I'm also just impressed with Josh Dobbs, like every single week.
Seriously.
He's just he's got a backup job. Again, he's Jacoby Brissett level, I think, for me, where he's a good backup that should be a backup until he loses it. Right?
Well, it's also
because he can go out there and win some games for you and keep it competitive. If he did have a better roster and he went out, I mean,
he also gives them.
He'd improve some of the other teams around the league the way he's playing right now.
He gives them the flexibility, I think, to not have to. The Kyler Murray timeline can be whatever the Kyler Murray timeline is. You're fine with Josh Dobbs for a while. Like, you might be losing all these games, but to be honest, number one, that's good because, it's really about the draft. But number two, you're not losing in embarrassing fashion. Like, every one of these games, Josh Dobbs is able to turn into a fight so that you can kind of feel good enough about it, moral victories and all that, so that, the morale doesn't disappear, which is the real risk of just being a terrible team and getting waxed every week. They are scrappy, and they're fighting, and even against, one of the best teams in the NFL, they're not just making it tough, but they're making it tough even in ugly situations. Like, a lot of teams down 14-0 against San Francisco would have just capitulated and raised the white flag and moved on to next week. Arizona pegged them back, and then only late on did it get away from them.
I just want to credit Christian McCaffrey and how awesome he is. He is great. I'm also thankful that the swing screen to him was called a lateral.
Okay.
So that Brock Purdy did not need the extra stat boost here.
Well, Brock Purdy completed a deep pass, so he got his own yardage.
He did. This may have been the best Brock Purdy game that we've seen. He had a weird one to Ayuk where there was 2 defenders there, and he just like underthrew it to a spot where
that was a deep pass. I think he actually completed the deep pass simply because it was so badly underthrown that it actually ended up like repositioning the ball and his receiver to the right spot. I think he tried to split 2 safeties and just didn't get the ball anywhere near where it should have been, and therefore, because it was so underthrown, like, the receiver has the advantage because he tends to react first to that. But it's a completed deep ball, which is not something that Brock Purdy has a ton of in the NFL.
There were a couple other big-time throws in there, though, so he did a nice job. Nice little back shoulder. Brandon Ayuk with another huge game. Just to wrap it up for me, with the McCaffrey thing, I like, again, that the Niners don't necessarily run the entire offense through McCaffrey. There's a couple schemed plays in there, but it's he becomes an elite check down option, right? There's some scheme plays in there, but he's an elite check down option. All 7 of McCaffrey's catches went for first downs. All the while, look, you don't get the ball to George Kittle or Deebo Samuel in this game, in the pass game, but you get Brandon Ayuk with those deep passes, and McCaffrey just becomes the best fail-safe, just check down, last option. And that's what makes the Niners so difficult to stop. Because, again, a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks in a row, it was Deebo Samuel. Now it's nothing. No Deebo. But you got to deal with McCaffrey and Ayuk. They are doing I don't know what the stats are going to look like at the end of the year. And, like, none of these guys are going to look elite statistically. But they're the most difficult offense to defend in the league because of all those options.
Let me ask you a question, since this is a short show at the moment.
Yeah, let's just keep going.
Is
We have 2 more games to
is Dennis the Barbarian Gardeck an example of, you know what the law of attraction is? You know, manifestation, this idea of if you speak it into existence, if you think it hard enough, you can make it happen.
Sure.
Do you know when he was drafted?
Undrafted.
Okay, do you know when he entered the league?
No, tell me.
2018. So as an undrafted free agent out of Sioux Falls in 2018, who had spent the majority of his career as just like a special teams guy, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know what? I'm going to be nicknamed the Barbarian because a guy nicknamed the Barbarian can't help but be a great defender, sack artist. Like, that's how you become a superstar.
You think he just made his own nickname?
Where did you hear about his nickname?
Adam Schefter.
Right? And where did that come from?
Probably his agent.
There you go. Right? I.e., he created his own nickname. Dennis the Barbarian Gardeck has created his own destiny, which is different from what he was actually destined to do, which is this like journeyman special teamer. Dennis the Barbarian said, to hell with that. Dennis Gardeck is a journeyman special teamer who's going to hang around the league for 12 years and go home with a paycheck of like $1 million, right? The Barbarian is a guy who's going to get 10 sacks in a season and get the bag. And I'm doing that. Agent, whatever, put out the word. Put out the word that we back. Put out the word that the Barbarian is a thing. He's re-signed and he's going after sacks this year.
I like it.
Yeah?
He's got over 1,690 special team snaps in his career.
That's what I'm saying.
And now he's a 1 sack per game guy.
He's also got 11 sacks in his career, and what? 5 of them, or
4 this year.
4 of them, sorry, have come this year. So 12 sacks in his career, and 4 of them have come this year.
I'm glad you took the time to do that.
I just feel, he's an example. He's the strongest example I found yet of the law of attraction being a thing.
He's probably been named the Barbarian since like high school, though.
No.